Hello everyone, welcome to Crypto Basics Coach podcast. I'm Marco. I'm here to help people navigate this topic so as to benefit from the opportunity this new technology provides and not get distracted or put off from the nonsense there is out there about crypto. Anything and everything presented and discussed, whether here or in our sessions, is of an educational nature and should never be taken as financial advice. Always do your due diligence and consult professionals before making any final decisions. Episode 8, Personal Accountability. This isn't a favourite topic with a lot of people. Unfortunately, what I've learned is most people prefer to deflect and point to other reasons for them not succeeding. It could be family, upbringing, past, history, partners, economy, the world, government, everything that's external. Often what you'll find though is that until you're prepared to take on personal accountability, you're probably not going to get to where you want to be in life on all sorts of different topics, whether it's your sport, your career, your finances, even your own personal health. And the reason I started with this is that it's interesting when I speak to people. It's not the first time that it's come up, but a common comment that I get when I sit down with someone and explain to them what the opportunity is with the crypto market in particular is something along the lines of, look, I trust you. Can you just tell me what I should buy? This is dangerous for a number of reasons, not necessarily because of the trust, but because you're assigning accountability to someone else, not yourself. It's more of what I would call a betting, gambling mentality, not an investment mentality. You're essentially looking for the hot tip, the shortcut. Just tell me what I need to buy, I buy it, hey, I make money, woo, off we go. And if you remember an episode, I think it might have been 2 episodes ago, where I talked about the mentality and the journey that you need to accept, that you have to go through, that you're going to have to learn. Well, part of that is not just learning topics and data and information and industry-based information. Part of that journey is you changing, you growing as an individual, you understanding that you need to take accountability for where you're at in life and for where you want to go and what you're going to have to do. So that's something that I would never rob anybody of doing, and as opposed to giving them a shortcut, is to prevent them from going through that journey. And it's important because as you change your thinking, as you change your habits, as you change your priorities, you're going to realize that even when you speak to professionals, which I'll speak to in a minute, you're going to have to sit back and still make decisions. It's not for them to tell you what you should be doing. You should view professionals, whether it's accountants, whether it's financial advisors. You need to be understanding that you're going to them as subject matter experts. That's fine. You get their information, you get their guidance, but ultimately you need to decide what it is that you're going to do. Not leave it up to them. You don't go to them for necessarily getting answers that you're just going to blindly accept. So I'll give you an example. Financial advisors. You need to understand the structure that they operate within. They are licensed, and they are licensed by an entity. And that entity has a specific list of products that they're able to offer you. And they're not allowed to talk outside of that list. Okay, they can get into legal trouble if they do. So you have to understand that when you talk to a financial advisor, doesn't matter how good they are, doesn't matter how long you've known them, it doesn't matter how much you trust them. The point is, they can only give you a specific view of the financial markets, and they can only offer you specific investment opportunities that are on their registered list. Okay, so even if they may know of other investments or other opportunities, they're not legally allowed to talk to you about them. So you need to understand that when you're sitting down with a financial advisor, not only are the opportunities that they can present to you going to be restricted, you also need to understand that their entire regulatory framework is one of very high risk management. And so if you're looking to potentially achieve a certain future, their advice may simply not get you there. And you, again, are going to have to be educated in understanding what it is that they're telling you, where it's coming from, and how you fit that into your plan, into what you're wanting to achieve, and not blindly follow what they say. Another good example that I've come across is you'll speak to an accountant about a particular structure that you might be thinking of, whether it's an investment, business opportunity, whatever the case might be. And again, what you need to appreciate is that fundamentally, accountants are about tax minimization. And so typically the answers that they give you, the structures that they suggest, any proposed framework of moving forward is going to be heavily biased towards being the most tax effective structure that they can offer you. And that's fine. That's what they do. You need to understand that that's what they do, and that's where their answer comes from. However, in the very next appointment, you might go and talk to some financial structure professional. These are the people you'll talk to about maybe setting up structures overseas or potentially setting up a trust or a particular type of trust. And what you might find is that these individuals, especially lawyers, they'll typically come at it from, well, what's the best way to protect you? What's the best way to protect your investment and your assets in case you're sued, in case someone goes after you? And sometimes when you listen to both an accountant and let's say a lawyer that's advising you on structures, you might actually find that, well, they'll give you two different answers. And that's fine. They're supposed to. One is giving you an answer based on tax minimization. The other one is giving you an answer on the best structure to protect your assets. And again, personal accountability, this is where you need to step in to determine, well, which is more important to you. Sometimes you may not be able to get the best protection and the best tax minimization, and you're going to need to decide. And they can't tell you which one to select. That's up to you. That's up to what your goals are and what your aims are. And that's part of personal accountability. Again, understanding how to use financial advisors, how to use accountants, how to use other professionals. Most certainly you need to speak to these people. They know a hell of a lot more than you do on any of these subjects, especially if it involves offshore and understanding the tax regimes of a different jurisdiction. You're going to need to speak to professionals, but you're also going to have to learn on how to discern the information, bring it back to what it is you and your family may be looking to do, where your priorities are. You may be biased towards one more than the other, and then you ultimately make the decision. So yes, I always encourage people to speak to the professionals, but understand what they're there for. In Australia, for you Australians that might be listening to this, with our self-managed supers, for those of you overseas, these are the retirement structures that we have in Australia. If you have a retirement structure overseas, you may be able to put it into a structure where you're able to have the whole say of where you're investing, what you're investing in. Again, you need to understand that the regulatory people that will be doing your compliance on these particular structures, again, they'll have a very specific view, and it will be around compliance. It won't necessarily be around, oh, here's something that you can make more money. Or you may have something you might want to make more money, and they may tell you that it's high risk, it's this and it's that. But remember, their responsibility is compliance. It's not about making you more money. Again, you've got to bring that back to personal accountability. So, to just summarize what I've covered, personal accountability is probably the most important aspect that you need to accept and that you need to grow and you need to pay attention to. Whether that's you need to learn certain skills, certain knowledge, or whether on a day-to-day basis, it's just a case of, hey, have I done the amount of push-ups that I said I was going to do? Have I done the amount of steps that I'm going to do? Have I listened to the appropriate information, YouTube videos, whatever the case might be? Whatever your plan is, no different to a personal trainer. They're going to sit down and say, well, have you done the exercises? Are you doing them 3-4 times a week? Are you eating what you should be eating if you're talking about your health? Personal accountability is absolutely vital, and especially in this industry where you're going to encounter new concepts, new terminology. Take your time, but just make sure you're doing something every day and that you're holding yourself accountable. Every time you look in the mirror when you get up in the morning, is that person being genuine? Are you doing the best that you can be? Are you doing the most that you can? Okay? It's not about quantity. It's about consistently doing and holding yourself accountable to doing what you need to do. The rest, all the information, in this particular industry, which cryptos should you buy, which ones should you do, etc., that'll all come in due time. But you've got to get the basics right, and it starts with you. Hope you found this of use. Just want to touch on last week's homework. Last week's homework was about inflation. And is it prices going up or is the dollar value going down? Hopefully you've looked into that and you're understanding a little bit better of what's going on with the value of your money and what's going on with the current economies. This week, what I encourage you to do is go and find out who are BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. Who are BRICS? And what are they up to in regards to the global monetary system? Hope you've had a great weekend. Looking forward to talking to you next week. Take care, folks. Bye.
If you found this information helpful and are interested in a more hand-holding approach while navigating this complex industry, please visit cryptobasicscoach.com, that's basics with an S, and book a session.
The first 30-minute session is free, and we can get to know each other, talk about what your aims are, what you're looking to do, and how I might be able to possibly help.
I've helped people get started, set up exchange accounts, wallets, DeFi platforms, and general knowledge. Look forward to speaking with you. Cheers.